Thaime came to Bizstarts because we were looking for a Spanish-speaking, Hispanic-speaking business coach. And we knew Thaime would do an excellent job because she started and grew her own business. So Thaime, why don't you tell us a little bit about your business?
Yes, so we have a paint and sip studio by the airport, by Layton. It's called the Farmhouse Paint and Sip. And have you been there? Yeah.
That's great.
A lot of you guys, great. Yes.
You gotta speak up just a little.
It's the Farmhouse Paint and Sip. It's a painting studio, and it's by the airport. And we started doing canvas painting only, but over time we have changed what we offer because of our customers' demand. So now we do wood boards, we also do mosaics, and a lot of people also fell in love with the space. So we also do a lot of private events where they rent the venue and they hold their own birthday parties or bachelorettes. So yes, that's our original business. Currently, about 2 weeks ago, we also added a new aspect to our business, and that's food. So we added a food truck, so we didn't take any of our inside space. So now we have the only red tacos in Milwaukee. You've tried it? Oh my God. Can you guys hear me? Okay. What is red tacos? Also, well, it's unique here in Milwaukee, but it's from birria. So you cook birria is kind of seasoning. It usually goes with goat, but we use red meat, and the seasoning comes from peppers, but it's not spicy. And then you use that same sauce to put it on the taco, and then you put the taco on the grill to get it kind of hardened, and then you put the meat in it. So that's why it's called red tacos, because it has some of that seasoning and the sauce on top of the actual tortilla. They're delicious. Some of them have, cheese, otherwise it can be just like a regular taco. So that's the new thing that we've added to innovate in our business, and the response has been amazing. You waited a little less than most people. He waited an hour and a half. We have people waited almost 3 hours. With our business, so it's attached to our business. So the farmhouse, it sits on 1 acre of land, and we just added this food truck.
So what did she do? Increase her capacity, right? Yeah.
Yes, because one of the things is we are limited to having. So what COVID did for us. Is that okay if I dive into
No, that was my next question.
Okay.
Yeah.
First, when we were shut down, we depend on foot traffic. So I think that's the first thing, that I need to address. So when they did the shutdown, we went right away in 3 days. We were able to take our business online. So all of our classes went online. People could come and pick up their supplies. And if they didn't want to, then they could just join a class. And actually at that time we were doing them for free. We also wanted to give back to the community. How can we add something positive during these times? If you need supplies, then please come to us. That was kind of what we were trying to do at the time. When we started the reopening, however, that was really what impacted our business. Obviously the shutdown did, but we were able to manage. But when they only did the 25% opening, that hurt us because, again, we depend on foot traffic. And for the amount of people that we were able to have in our property, it was not worth it. It cost us more money to operate than to bring business, even if we were back to back. So we complemented then, we kept it virtual, and that kind of helped us navigate that time. But then we got to the 50%, and that was more manageable. So we were able to rent some of the spaces for very small private events, because we have 100 capacity in one building and 50 in another building. So we had a little more flexibility. But then, as we started navigating that time, that's when we said, okay, what else can we do that is a little recession-proof? That regardless of the shutdown, what's one thing that people always do and that we're missing that people have been asking for? And that was the food part. So that's how that idea was born, and then my husband built the whole thing.
So go back to the very beginning when you were starting the business. How did you form your accounting system, what you use now?
Yes, so I'm in a partnership with my husband. I'm not the only person in this business. I originally worked for Johnson Controls as an accountant, and I worked very long hours, and he proposed to do this business. We had bought this property. This property also has a house, and we were more interested in the house and renting the other buildings to somebody else. So he proposed to do this. You know, he's like, there's no entertainment in the area for families. People have to travel. What can we do? And he really loved painting. He's the artist. I've learned to paint now, but it wasn't, it wasn't me. So I told him, I was like, okay, let me do a business plan. But I did a very small business plan. I don't know if you've heard of a business model, Canva. So that's kind of what I did at first. Very high level, but still going over the main things. Do we have a customer? Are we solving a problem in our community? Are they willing to pay? Who's the competition? At that time, only Splash was the biggest name in town. But they were in downtown, which was a whole different community they were serving. And then I worked on the projections. I said, okay, I don't know anything about painting. So we hired someone who had experience on, what it takes to paint, like what kind of brushes, what kind of paint, the canvas sizes, all of this stuff.
So you're figuring out your costs.
Yes. So there I was figuring out my variable costs. Because, it was easy to find out how much we were going to pay in rent and, even taxes, based on the projections. More of the stuff that was going to happen every month the same way, insurance, that kind of stuff. But the variable changed. So that's what I needed to know, which was my product cost. So then after I did all those, the costs, I calculated the break even, which that's so important. So the break even, what it tells you is based on your fixed cost and your variable cost, what's the minimum that you need to sell to, just break even. You're not making money, but you're not losing money. And one thing I did in that was I added also our pay. Like, it was very important for the business from the beginning to pay me. It was not paying me the same that I was doing on my other job, but I calculated, okay, what's the minimum I need to get paid, and then, but I included the things that were important for me, and the same for my husband. So that was included in my break even. That was very, very, again, important, because if you don't pay yourself from the beginning, you can sometimes take out of the business when personal emergencies arise. So yes, we did that, and then we did projections, and then the next step was to look for funding. Regular banks didn't, like 3 of them turned us down, but then we found Webic, and they worked with us.
Do you live on the property?
Yes, we currently live in the property. We thought that we were going to move out after, all of this took off. But actually, it's been very convenient to be there, to just, we don't travel. I'm thankful I drive and I have a car, but it's not my favorite thing to do. And I did it for so many years. So it's nice to just be there and be ready to work when we're working.
So tell us about your accounting software, what you use, and the time you set aside to make sure that you go over your business once a month or once a week or however your process is.
Yeah, right now we are to the point that we have to do it every week because we have so much volume. Especially now that we have the food truck, we have even more volume. And for me, it's very important to be able to pull reports. I need to know where my cash flow is, where I stand with cash. So I look at the report, and then also I monitor the profits too, like how much is costing. Because sometimes sometimes when you have big events or something happens, you can actually have more cost because of hours. The payroll is usually going to be your biggest cost. So that's what I usually am monitoring. But I use QuickBooks. QuickBooks, it has different versions. I started with the simpler version, but as we've grown, QuickBooks have grown with us. So I currently do my payroll, I do my bookkeeping, and also all of my reporting in there. It's super nice. I love it. I highly recommend it. And we do it weekly. Now I've gotten to the point where the repetitive stuff, what needs to happen all the time, because I have now a process. Someone comes once a week, and for 3 hours she works on just cleaning my transactions to make sure everything, because those accumulate really fast. And then my job is to, like I said, run payroll, make sure that we're compliant paying all our payroll taxes, our sales taxes, and looking at the reporting and making decisions in the business based on that. So anytime we've done a new project, like we expanded to a second building last year, we looked at those reports and the numbers. We had 2 projects, and then we did the break even, and that's how we decided, and projections, and then we said, okay, we're gonna do this project. And that's kind of what we did with the food truck as well. Before we went into it, we said, okay, this is the money we have, how much, how long it's gonna take to come back to us, and having your books will give you that flexibility. So I cannot stress how important, and it's easier when you start, because once you've gotten started, it can take a lot of time to get it all up to speed. And sometimes you're like, okay, I don't have time for this, because you're pressed for other things, right? You're trying to bring money. So if you do it from the beginning, that will be the best, and you'll know the processes then in your businesses. And that's the other thing, document your processes. The good thing about your business is the same things are gonna happen over and over every month. So the first month it might be like, very tedious. The second month will be better, and by the third month, you're gonna know exactly what's going on in your business.
We're going to take questions at the end. So, and I'll give you another question. We talked today about key performance indicators, or KPI. What's the number one for your business?
Oh, well, that's a hard question, because we have different, so you're going to have financial assets and non-financial assets. And assets is something that belongs to you. That's what that word simply means, right? So financial assets will be your cash. So that's something that we look at. We look at our profit and how much cash. Because your profit doesn't mean that that's what you have in your bank. I just want to make that. Why do I say this? I might book, let's say, a birthday party, and the rental, let's say, is about $800. In my books, it's going to show that I made a sale of $800. But this person is not going to pay me until later, okay? This person only gave me a $150 deposit, and the $650, she's going to pay it, let's say in January, because the party is in January. So my report, my profit and loss, will show that I have $800 in sale, but my cash, my bank won't show it. So that's why I keep an eye on those two. Like, how are we doing in sales, and how are we doing actually in cash, which is what helps pay the bill, right? And do projects and all that stuff. That's the financial one. I mean, and I have many other key performance indicators. Like we have a meeting every Monday with the managers, and we look at all these things. But the other one that we look at is like the non-financial, and that's more, and this you will get into as you build your business, but we look at our newsletter, we look at our social media channels, we look at all of that, because although that doesn't generate us money, it is the way we communicate, and it's our marketing. So eventually, that's why it's non-financial asset. It's something that we have a reach. We have a big reach, like 12,000 people on Facebook, 6,000 people on Instagram, 5,000 emails. So that's a lot of people that are in contact with us. So it's important for us to monitor how things are going with that and what people like. So we keep doing that.
So go back to the beginning. And then think of these folks who are just about to start a business What advice would you have for them?
Know your numbers. I think that's the most important thing. My husband has been an entrepreneur for years, and now that I'm, the reason why we got here, right? But definitely we needed each other. But that was one thing he always struggled. Like he struggled with the numbers part, so many of his businesses did okay. When he did spend time thinking about this, then we have seen great results. The other thing I can say is it goes back to that. In a business, you're going to have different roles and you have to recognize who you are. I know, so there's 3 types of people in your business. One is the producer or the artist or the person who thinks about fulfilling the need of the customer or has the skill, okay? So this could be a chef, this could be an artist, it could be even an accountant if you actually do the job, right? Then the other thing will be a manager, which is the person who helps you put systems and processes in place. This helps you scale. Once you start, at the beginning you're gonna do everything. At the beginning I even cleaned the bathrooms, you guys. and that was great, but now we do have a team of managers that run the whole thing. And we work more on the strategic, what's the next thing. And then the other thing is the entrepreneur, which sometimes you can be that person too. But if not, then find a coach who helps you. And the entrepreneur thinks more about the profits and actually the business. It's not so attached. Because sometimes we can get attached to our gift and we just want to like push it and push it. The entrepreneur doesn't look at any of that. He or she is looking at, is this going to make us money? How can we even like sell the business? Although you don't want to, you don't have to sell it. But sometimes if you think of selling the business, then you're going to treat your business a lot different than if you don't think about that. Even if you don't have the intention, but your actions will be different. So if you're not that person, who can be that person who helps you? So those will be the 2 things. Know your numbers and then know who you are and then find the people that will help you fulfill those roles.
Awesome. Yeah. And a lot of the businesses we work with in our family businesses, we call it the farmer and the flower. Like one person is the true flower of the business and they're out in the community talking, and then the other one's mending the farm.
Yes. Yes.
So we'll take some questions from the audience for Thaime.
You talked about your prediction, when it came to the taco truck. I know you guys did a lot of job on marketing. Do you think when you projected how much you were going to be making, did you hit it right on the dot in your market, or were you above your projection as the revenue coming in right now?
Actually, we were way under. Like, we had an expectation of what the business was going to do, but it's doing so much better than it's not that we were not prepared, but it was crazy to see how much response we had. So again, we solved 2 problems, right? There was a demand and there was not such a thing in Milwaukee. So during our market research, we noticed that. And then the second thing was that we did spend the time in the marketing, so letting everyone know and building that excitement. But no, I mean, we've sold out. We've been open for 3 weeks and we've sold out each and every day. Yeah, and we keep buying more and more meat. So that's a good problem. But originally with the farmhouse, it was a pretty good projection. The only things I was not, and although I did project it for this, that's another thing. When you do your projections, you're going to have dips in certain months, and that's because of the behavior of your customer. So, for example, summer for us, believe it or not, it's not as busy because people travel, or even when they go back to school, our main customer is a woman, so they're usually busy trying to think, okay, we gotta get kids back to school. So that was the only thing I projected, but the dip was a little lower. But the rest of the year, things were pretty accurate. But so you're gonna have that. Sometimes, you can have an accurate projection, And other times it could be way, more than you expected, which is a good problem, or it could be under. But believe it or not, with a lot of demand too, or too much success, other problems come along with too. Because right now, our team is burned out, the kitchen team. So we've been hiring like an emergency because we want to be conscious, and if we lose one of those people, I mean, we hired 5 people for the truck originally, and if we lose one of them, we're gonna be like, like going crazy. But so that could be, when it's too good, sometimes you can have that kind of problem. And the first day, I mean, you want to also put out quality. And the first day, I know that some orders were rushed. So then we had to really make a lot of, amends with other customers who we just, and that's another thing. Keep your customers happy always. If they have some feedback, or even they write on Facebook or anywhere, get back to them, talk to them, fix it, because it's important. And explain. And our explanation was like, okay, we have 24 hours doing this. We did trials and everything, but is something new. So we're trying to keep up. So always do that. Your customer is the main thing once you're in business, and keeping them happy. Yes, so my name is Thaime, Thaime, and the first business is a farmhouse paint and sip, and then we've added Chewy's Red Tacos, or Red Tacos. I said it with the Hispanic accent.
We have a question over here.
Okay, so I know you had a leg up the game because you were accountant at Road. But as far as accounting law, what is something that you wish you would have done that maybe you didn't do, or do as well as you should have?
With accounting, I think it helped having the background, because I think I can tell you, because from the very beginning I was very into like, okay, let's do this this way. So I think maybe the one thing I regret, or I wish I would have done different, is document the processes faster. Because I've been in business with the farmhouse for 4 years, and I just got this new person. Well, she's been with me almost a year. So I think it took a little too long to get help on the things that, like at the beginning, you want to figure it out, you want to know your business, right? But as soon as you know that, delegating is the best way, so you can work on other things that are more valuable in your business. So I think this is what the one thing, and so for some reason, I thought I'm the only one who can do this. And that was a mistake. And now that I have this person, I've been able to focus even on other things. So I would say that if you can document your processes and try to get help either internally or, hire a service. But be careful hiring or outsourcing, because sometimes business owners, when they outsource, they're like, okay, here are my receipts, you figure it out, like, I don't want to know anything, I don't know anything about this. If you are the CEO of your business, even if it's a small business, you are the CEO. So you promoted yourself, right, to CEO. You need to understand the financials, and you need to know how the money comes in and how it comes out. Because when you delegate or outsource it to somebody else, you might even forget of things that you don't know that they're trackable. So what Ann said, track your expenses, that's very, very important. Anything. And let that person tell you if it's deductible or not, but account for everything. But if you decide to actually hire someone like I did, so I hired someone from Marquette, which is in her freshman year of accounting. So she loves it. And she's familiar with this too. So if you hire somebody internally, it could be, cheaper for you, and you have a little more control. So, but see, I have a little problem with the control thing. So don't do that.
Does your business have a credit card, and if so, what challenges do you have securing that credit card, and how do you overcome those challenges?
Credit card, like processing, or credit card for ours?
Credit card for your actual businesses to make purchases.
Actually, that's something that's on my to-do list for this year. We usually, and that's a great point because when you're trying to manage cash flow, it's good to have a credit card. But we always use our operating account to do that. So we pay with our own money from our bank. But that's something I definitely started looking this year because I said, well, if we can, delay some of our payments for 30 days, that's even better for cash flow. So we currently don't do it, but it's something we definitely look at. It's not that we haven't needed it, but I don't think it's only about needing it, it's about being strategic with the money that you have. So it's definitely something that if you can do it, but just make sure you pay it every 30 days so that you're not incurring interest, because then that's not good.
We've got time for one last question for Thaime.
What's been the most rewarding experience or part of being an entrepreneur?
Oh, wow. I think my number one is seeing customers so happy. We do so many different things, and having them come to us or even giving us a review, it means a lot because it makes you feel like, okay, I'm doing the right thing. I'm not just doing a business that is based on what I think I should be doing. I'm truly serving someone. So I think that's been the most rewarding for us, and it keeps motivating us. We always ask that question. We never get too fixated on the product or what we're doing. It's more, we're obsessed more with the customer. What do they need? What do they want? And when we get the thank you or, even the repeat business, like people become fans of your business and you're like, oh my gosh, like this is great. And you have that special connection that, you otherwise don't have. At work, you connect with your coworkers, but they're not your fans, So.
All right, let's give Thaime a hand. Thank you for coming out on a sandwich. I appreciate it.
Good luck to you guys.
All right, just a few housekeeping notes. We'll be back here again next Saturday at 8:30. One thing I'm excited about and that I wanted to point out is, Michael has friends that are professors at University of Notre Dame, and one of the professors' daughter actually went to Marquette. So Julia was brought on our staff, and she literally gathered up about 20 student consultants that are really good with things like marketing and their numbers. So when you're done with the 6 weeks, it's really just going to be the start of the program. The next thing you're going to do is sit down with one of these mentors or a student consultant, and they're going to support you in getting your stuff into QuickBooks. They're also going to help you build websites. They're going to create flyers for you. We're going to support you getting further and further in your business as the year goes along. So thanks for coming, and enjoy the rest of your Saturday.